drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Fensler in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello, and a big warm welcome to the Barshaws Inquiry Sunday Sermon. Yes, it is, of course, Remembrance Sunday. We also pay homage to those that suffered in the past for our freedoms that we enjoy today. It's a somber day, but nevertheless, we're here to also entertain, satirical about the racing world, and joining me to discuss racing issues of this week is, of course, John Lang and Chris. Good evening, chaps.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, we're in relatively good form. First of all, we will discuss the topics of the racing weekend.
Yes.
John, I know you now, right? It's really bad, isn't it? Yesterday is like the old death march as Doncaster seals the end of the flat turf season.
I'm just glad they don't put the clocks back on the same night, because I'd have me cooking head in the oven.
Yeah.
That hits me like a bloody sledgehammer.
We'll come on to the jumps action in a second that took place yesterday, but it's interesting to see Rafe and Ralph brothers turned up at Doncaster yesterday to watch their runners throughout the day. And Rafe in particular was seething. I don't know what Ralph thought, but about the prize money for the November handicap. 36,000 was the prize yesterday. Apparently, about 20 years ago, it was 34,000.
Yeah.
So Rafe's gone bananas. He's gone like Herbie 53 on the prize money there.
Yeah.
It's pretty shit, isn't it?
Well, there'll be a school of thought that said it should have all been withheld because he won it with his ramming.
He did. It's the old googly, innit?
Yeah.
Old Valmont and Valvano with the punters with Peter Crouch on at 9-2, and he's won it with the one that no one thought could win.
Yeah, ridiculous, really. Let's be fair, he's got a massive point, hasn't he, about the...
He's got a massive what?
He's got a massive point.
Yeah.
Because the end of season show pace, 36 Gs. I'm not saying it should be in Ebert territory, but I think it should be about double that, really. I think we should be looking 70 at 75, the last big race of the flat season.
Do you remember the old punts? Batswing, Ashley Carr? There always used to be something laid out for this, didn't? Absolutely laid out. Last race of the season, 1.5 mile handicap, right? It had some prestige. And that level of prize money is shocking. I agree. I completely agree. I hate agreeing with Rafe and Ralph, but I think he's right on this one.
Well, to be fair, Ralph didn't say out, did he? He might disagree. He might think it should be less. But...
Well, that's it.
I doubt it.
And who doesn't love a big flashy white horse? The 3:10 race, the Gillies Fillies listed race, was won in impressive fashion by Estrange, who now, if you don't know already, she is 2 from 3 and she needs soft ground. And John, we had a little chat about this, didn't we?
We did.
We think if the miserable ginger cunt.
Yeah, there's an email winging its way to Northgate Lodge.
Yeah.
Detailing exactly where Shanade's aiming next year. Yeah. I'll let you do the honours.
Yeah, it's the Von Pressen, Baden Von Baden, Baden.
Von Baden.
That Von Baden. This filly needs deep ground. You saw that when she was beaten by Sound Angela at York running flat. She was incredibly impressive on debut. She's an absolute slop beast. So they have to seek out the slop next season. And so if we're sending a message to the miserable ginger one at Northgate Lodge, we are saying, Mr. O'Mara, campaign this one with the older flugs in Germany, because Estrange looks a big grey shithouse that could take storm next year, certainly amongst high rank. Do you think she could be Group 1, John? I do.
They could definitely nick one with her, couldn't they, in Germany and touch Lake, I mean, you wouldn't be entirely surprised if she rocked up there on Champions Day if it was chest deep.
No.
And I mean, unless he's been running her on quick ground all year, you'd say she'd go there with a chance.
Indeed. So we come on to your, I love your questions. Jumps non-jigger pandemic. What do you mean by this, John?
There's basically when the flat finishes, it's like somebody flashes the green flag, doesn't it? It's time to start all the non-jiggers, getting them ready for Cheltenham and what have you. And we got that thing at Chepstow with the skeleton, where comes there, not an offer of the stick or anything else. I mean, it must have gone short in running. Comes home in its own time after the last. And that's just typical of how we're going to be seeing horses ridden between now and Christmas, isn't it?
Is this endemic now with the jump season where
Completely.
we're just literally laying horses out, not just for Cheltenham, probably for targets down the line?
Our trainer's case, we're laying horses out for races they can't win. It's all pie in the sky, targeting anything for Cheltenham if you're training this country.
Well, coming on to this, you've got a situation. I am flabbergasted by these statistics of where we have just 33 horses in training for National Hunt rated over 150.
Yeah, and it's going to get better because they're all going to try and avoid each other.
This is it. We're getting 2 and 3 runner races for that reason. Unless the Irish send over a few contenders, our graded races are absolutely fucking pointless. It'll carry on happening when Ascot run the grade ones and whatever other grade ones are coming up this winter. I said privately to you, John, that the solution has to be, given the population at the top end in the UK, there has to be, I think, a system where, barring the King George, barring the Aintree Festival, barring Cheltenham Festival, the rest should be just handicaps, limited handicaps, like they used to be Panto Prince, Desert Orchid, and the Victor Chandler back in the day. They have to turn them all into sort of handicaps to make them betting worthy.
I think it's an excellent idea, but I fear that the right people aren't in post to make that decision. I get the impression they would see that as a retrograde step, and they're a little bit snobby to do that. And I think they'll like the conditions races, and I think they'll and stick with it against everybody's better judgment and against everybody's interests.
Yeah, it's a sport really that I would say, if horse racing is under pressure, and we know every aspect of horse racing is under pressure, from flat racing, jumps racing, you name it, it's going downhill.
The only thing that's not under pressure are the horses with the new whip rails.
Exactly. But again, and we'll come on to that shortly with the Grand National fences again under scrutiny. I would say that they've messed with the sport so much. I just think now, because horses are trained generally in Ireland with Wicked Willie, the BFG, the best horses are over there, just 33 horses at 150 plus, it doesn't make sense to run grade ones
No,
in the UK. It just doesn't.
absolutely not. No.
Barring the centrepiece races. I didn't even include the Betfair Chase at Haydock. I'll make that a limited handicap.
Well, that's a damn squib anyway, isn't it? With its 3 and 4 runner fails, and
Yeah.
it's always over by the time they turn into the straight.
Yeah, it's only made competitive when Ireland send over a couple.
Yeah.
If they don't, it ends up a terrible heat. Bristol and Mike kept winning it because it was soup and that was. But then we're not getting the soup kind of ground at the moment with the weather. But it is what it is, and that's the other frustrating with the jumps. I mean, we saw it at Exeter on Friday. Oh, the ground's too quick, and we're getting 2, 3, 4 runner races, really uncompetitive fields. This is not elite sport, is it, John?
It's absolutely rotten, to be honest. A lot of those horses that are taken out on good ground would definitely run in March at Cheltenham if they were good enough on good ground, and possibly quicker than they would have encountered there. You can't alter the mindset and mentality of these trainers that they're building towards Cheltenham. Lots of the top end ones in this country aren't under pressure to run from owners. They're allowed to do as they like, and that's where it gets you.
Coming on to a listener's question, non-jiggers over jumps is getting worse. And rather than a small stable, Skelton and Fergal regularly send out novices and bump horses out for a jolly. With the going as it is, why don't a few more summer jumpers go pot hunting? Won't be long before the going gets too heavy. That's from Oxford 1. John, this is why I don't get the jumps. Right, there always seems to be like a target because they have to have targets because they can only run 5-6 times
Yeah.
over the winter. You don't know if they're fit, and then you see them go from 5 to 2 out to 6s because they're not fit, and a bit boring, isn't it?
Well, you can't have a bet in the morning, can you?
Now, unless you've got an in into the stable and you know
Yeah.
this is a target for the horse, then it's a waste of time. I don't understand twig hoppers. I don't get them. Why they love it. You've got this bollocks at the start of the season, right? Is this one fit? No, we're having a spin up here. Target will be in 2 to 3 weeks. In fact, I got a message from the Skelton yard on Heltonham that was supposed to run at Exeter, but the ground was too quick. And his main
Yeah.
target for the season is at Cheltenham in 2 to 3 weeks. That told you what they were going to do if they had run it.
Yeah.
They just spun it up. It's incredibly boring.
I mean, I know people run them on the flat when they need a run, shall we say. But I don't think there's any comparison to some of these jump horses that come out for seasonal debut. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Do you know why? Because, for example, you've got a nice flat horse. What happens? You need to show your worth to sell to King Kong, Australia, wherever. Unless you're handicapping and you're an handicapping yard to get a mark, there's no point not trying to show your best, because if you win a Newbury Maiden and bolt up 3 lengths as a 2-year-old, it's King Kong 400,000-500,000 on the fud. That's the difference. The jumps. Who wants to buy a 7-year-old gelding?
Yeah, very true.
Well, some do, because obviously Andy and Gemma Brown dispersal 4.76 million they sold the horses for. They got 93,000 back, John, so far in prize money, the persons that have bought these horses. Jumps horses. It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks.
It's a staggering figure, isn't it? Really?
Imagine that. I bring Chris in here. Chris, what business can you spend 4.65 million and within 1 year you've got 93,000 back for your investment?
Football clubs. That's
Yeah.
the only business I
Yeah.
can think of. I mean,
Yeah.
look, the people that operate at the higher levels of national hunt racing aren't interested in prize money. You know, if they dialed down the Cheltenham prize money to sort of 100 quid a race, right, people would still enter because of the prestige. So it's not an economic decision. And that's how racing is able to continue for as long as it has, because people aren't thinking rationally when they buy racehorses and run them. Yeah, they'll moan about the prize money and they'll say, well, prize money's decreasing, etc., etc. But fundamentally, the people that spend this amount of money on bloodstock, it's there for prestige. And it's one of these sort of discretionary payments, isn't it? They don't need to make money. Making money would be nice, but none of them will apply kind of business principles because you couldn't, unless you're sort of the Magniers, etc., and Coolmore, it is an irrational, it's an irrational waste of money, isn't it? You're never going to recoup anything unless you find something that's extraordinary. But it's an economy that works, using its own rules, that doesn't apply in the kind of wider commercial arena. It's very odd, but that's how it's always been, and I suspect it will always be. They can reduce Cheltenham prize money to nothing, and you'd still get entries and still get people that want to win the Cheltenham Gold Cup, the Champion Hurdle, etc., etc. The prize money's just a nice extra, isn't it?
That's interesting, because Phil Bull has
Yeah.
commented a listener's question and said, does racing need prize money?
For a certain strata of the sport, no, it doesn't. I mean, at the very apex of the pyramid, particularly National Hunt, I wouldn't say it would apply quite so much on the flat, but these people will enter and own and buy horses just for the prestige of saying they've won a Cheltenham Gold Cup or a Champion Hurdle or whatever, or a Fox Hunt. I mean, look at the money that's paid for point-to-point winners in Ireland. People paying enormous sums of money for horses which have only a tiny chance of ever recouping that prize money, recouping the cost. But they're bought because it's the dream, isn't it? Because when you got so much money, what else do you spend it on? You've got enough cars, yachts, houses, whatever. You want prestige, and that's what I think racehorses fulfill in a lot of people.
I sort of agree with you there, because you look at the people like Rich Ritchie,
Yep.
you look at forget the name of them, but the yellow and black checks in Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, crikey, yeah.
Mellon, that horse.
Yeah.
They just want to win.
Yeah. It's bragging rights. They want to be other billionaires, don't they?
Yeah.
There's, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure there's bragging rights amongst billionaires. You know, I beat you last week, or I'm going to win this, and you know, ultimately, when you get to a certain level of wealth, more wealth is irrelevant. There's no utility value for a lot of these people in having more money because they can do whatever they want already. So what's another £1,000,000?
Well, if you remember, that's how racing started.
Yeah,
In the mega old days, the 1600s,
yeah,
1700s, lords taking
yeah,
their equine best to Epsom Downs and basically racing against each other for a private wager.
yeah.
I'll beat you, and
2 chickens and they go on the milkmaid.
yeah.
It's bragging rights, isn't it? It's prestige. It's the cachet of having beaten another billionaire or another multi-millionaire. It's
Yeah.
not about the prize money because it's not an economic or a rational commercial decision. Say, I know I'll make a load of money and I'll buy a load of racehorses and hope to win more prize money than it costs for me to run them. Nobody does that, do they? They
No.
really don't.
No. Now, for jumps racing in general, there are a lot of issues. It's bad value for money for starters. I've already mentioned about the 33 horses that are rated 150 plus in the UK today, which is definitely a problem for jumps racing. Adding to this, the Huntingdon Clark. This is quite a weird story. This might have gone under the radar. Don't know if any of you guys heard about this. Roderick Duncan this week has quit his position at Huntingdon after a dispute over processes imposed on the ground staff. That's very interesting. So this is Jockey Club Racecourses. He's quoted as saying, I've left because of a disagreement over systems which have been introduced that I don't think are compatible or inclusive for some members of the workforce. I can't comment on more than that because it's a very vague subject. But John,
I did hear that they were going to have to sort out their own national insurance and tax. I'm not sure
right,
whether that's gospel or not.
interesting.
But, maybe work on a self-employed basis and invoice the court. I don't know. If that's the situation with Jockey Club racecourses, and as I say, I'm absolutely guessing there. But if that's the situation, you're talking about real desperation that cut costs there, aren't you?
That says to me they're skint. Jockey Club Racecourse.
Yeah.
That says to me they're absolutely on their arse. And I suppose you can get the angle of pushing the Cheltenham Festival like they do because clearly they need that to earn a lot of money. It has to earn a lot of money
Yeah.
to help the tilt. But I feel that's another busted flush as well. I really do. I think the Cheltenham Fest as it's a peak, as we say.
Yeah, well, he's already there, that's for sure.
Yeah. Going on to some more of your questions. You did a poll, John, on children in need. Are you sick to death of it?
Yeah, I was driving somewhere yesterday and there was this fucking idiot on the radio. He's like riding across the Pyrenees or something on a chopper bike. You know the old chopper bikes, rally chopper,
Yeah.
with the handlebars and whatever. He's doing it to raise money. Well, if you're a celebrity, why don't you just get your hand in your fucking pocket and dole some money out instead of badgering and pressuring people that's hardly got a pot to piss in to get their money out, which is all that happens. Children in Maid night on the Friday night. It's fucking ghastly. The only celebs that turn up have either got a record out, a new series start, and they've all got something to plug. And I'll show a challenge right here and now. The first celeb to donate 10% of their net worth, I will match that by donating 10% of my net worth.
That's not going to happen. Tex Wergan, as you remember, John, he commanded a £70,000 a show fee. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
People are sick of multi-millionaire tax avoiders badgering people, as John says, who haven't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, to dig deep. And yet their contribution is seen as their time, as if their time is somehow more valuable than ordinary working people's money. And that, I think, sickening. And people are sick of the likes of Lenny Henry, Gary Barlow, and all these fucking idiots just constantly badgering, you've got to give. Well, no.
I think the poll bore it out because there was about 7%, wasn't there, that said they were okay with it.
Correct. And ultimately, people give already. They give through their fucking tax. They pay through the nose. Charity is a function of a government that's unable to look after its people. You
Exactly.
shouldn't you
Charity
shouldn't
should
need.
not be replacing the
Yeah,
welfare state.
no, it should not. It's absolutely, charities are a symptom of a failing economic system. Why do people need to constantly fund causes out there? They fund it enough. We pay enough tax. People pay enough money and make enough contributions with VAT, what they pay for, and all the other taxes, road fuel, diesel, etc., etc., etc. And yet you have these multi-millionaires that are kind of trying to badger people into to paying money they can ill afford for causes which it's very opaque as to where the money ends up. Does it end up to people in this country? What kind of causes are earmarked for receipt of money? Who knows? It goes into a black hole. And yet you have Antrobus, who's the chief executive of Children in Need. He's on 135 grand a year. Well, you will say, well, it's a high profile position, but it's a once a year event. It's not like a chief executive of charity that's constantly fundraising throughout the year where you can think, well, okay, it is a responsible position. You need experience, sort of, fundraise. This is a once a year do, isn't it? There's a run up and then there's a little bit of kind of post show activity, and then you don't hear for another 12 months. And I think people are just sick of celebrities. You saw it with Trump. Kamala thought, oh no, we'll get a lot of Hollywood people to endorse it. People are stupid. They'll vote. They'll do whatever Scarlett Johansson says, or fucking Mark, whatever Mark Ruffalo says. Well, people say, no, fuck you. We don't want to do what you tell us, because you're not qualified to tell us how to live our lives. And I think people are hopefully beginning to see behind the curtain now.
I can echo most of that in terms of agreement. I also think that there shouldn't be charities around. If the world was run properly, and as we know it isn't, here's the socialism coming out in me in this rant. There should be no one homeless. There should be no one suffering.
No,
There should be no
there's
one
wrong enough
suffering
going
from
on.
hunger. There's enough money in the world and enough resources to make sure everyone gets a fair crack at the whip. That's what annoys me about, especially big charities. I don't mind the small ones, I'll be honest.
No, quite. No, I agree.
The ones that are volunteers, and it's like a
Yeah,
small volunteer charity to help local folk.
yeah.
I don't
Or
mind
animal
that.
charities and all that. Yeah, I'm all good with that.
Absolutely. The big ones where you've got, like what Chris said, the CEO's on like 200k.
Yeah,
And it's like, what? Hang on a minute.
Look at the cenotaph today, like.
yeah,
Yeah.
You've got all them poor-faced cunts laying raids today,
Yeah.
and we will remember them. Well, tomorrow morning, if they all went down to the bank and got a decent chunk out, those veterans that were sleeping on the streets at the minute, that could be solved tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it could.
They
Yeah,
choose not to end that,
yeah.
but they want to be seen laying fucking raids.
Yeah, and yet they'll pour money to Ukraine
Yeah.
to finance other countries' wars, which is, you could argue whether that's a good use of money or not. I would say it
Well,
isn't, but
it keeps the money in the system, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
Amongst the bigwigs.
Yeah, so they'll pump money into, it's like cancer research, blah blah blah. If they really wanted to find a cure for cancer, they will simply divert a lot of the money that goes to bullshit causes, donations to India, which has got a fucking space program, and put it into domestic cancer research. But they don't, because it's not in the interest of the elite to cure these problems, because there's money in it.
Again, it's always follow the money.
Yeah.
That's how society lives, unfortunately. Like you said, there is enough resources in the world to end all problems, really. But
Yeah.
obviously, they choose not to do so. And charities exist because of that. But sadly, like John, Chris, myself have highlighted, is the fact that people are continually asked to dig in the pockets when times
Yeah.
are tough. People eventually go, look, hang on, this just isn't right.
Yeah.
You're sending money here, there, everywhere, and then we're asked to fund another
Well,
venture.
people are finally starting to wake up to the rails, aren't they? There was that
Yes.
program, Great Dispatches,
Yep.
Correct.
renting bloody property out to charities and the NHS. The
Yes.
dirty bastards.
Yeah. No, but it's
I love that.
absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But it's and it's a kind of diversionary exercise, because he's getting a lot of heat. What does he say? Puts out a press release. Oh, it's been the worst year of my life. Blah blah blah. Wife's got
Yeah.
cancer. Look over here. Don't look over there. Look over here. It's a diversionary tactic. But again, these people, exist to live off others, don't they? They create nothing themselves. So what do? That they rely on inherited privilege and wealth, and they've got no desire to end that kind of position at all. They're going to carry that on.
No, we're in full moan mode tonight, so we'll move on to Via Sistina for another moan. Billy that's obviously took off, or I should say mare.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, John says another nail in the coffin, and obviously this mare has gone down under, certainly delivering.
On a few mares ready to go down under myself.
So Via Sistina, John, again, we've just talked about the jump season and how we're short. I think that's what pisses me off with the jump season so far. Well, there's two things. I'll come on to the national fences in a minute. But the first thing is, it's a product that they're overselling right now. Everybody wanking over Rhuboard yesterday in a 3-runner elite hurdle. Oh, he's going novice chaser. It'll be an exciting novice chaser. It's fucking shit. It'd be 66s at any festival and bigger. It's rubbish, right? So forget that. That's bollocks. So this is what they're doing. They're overselling a product that's so shit and has been dumbed down. And this is what we're going to get on the flat because Via Sistina, like John says, another nail. It's not the final nail, but it's another one where we're losing top class horses to abroad. And then all of a sudden, we're watching Queen Anne's at Royal Ascot, we're watching King George's at Royal Ascot, and we're saying, this is shitter and shitter and shitter because we've sold all the horses abroad. This is the product that we're supposed to be lauding and betting on. It's British horse racing. It's supposed to be the best in the world. We're going to lose it, and very quickly, if the tide doesn't turn, John.
Well, our horse is rated above 100, I mean, why would you even hang around here? You can ship them down to Australia, and I mean, you can win millions with them.
Yep. Look at Brian with the Ebor runner, the plate winner.
Won
the Geelong Cup, was fancy. Yeah. All right, didn't do anything in the Melbourne Cup, but it still won the Geelong Cup. So it shows you what a decent staying animal rated anywhere between 98 and 105 could do down under.
Exactly. You could go down there and lap winked, basically, couldn't you?
It's a very worrying concern for all our racing, really.
Well, if you got one in that bracket, in all honesty, you wouldn't you bump sailing not doing it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but we would. What would we do?
Gone.
Over and stop it, wouldn't you? Yeah, stop it.
No, like John said, we're selling after about 2 runs, me and John. It's
like, fucking off it, yeah.
Fucking sell
exactly.
it. Fucking.
Get rid. Yeah.
Yeah, any good
and we bring it over in person. And we'd have
ride it over.
There.
Ride the fucking thing over. Yeah.
Definitely. The Grand National fences John need talking about because this is an absolute fucking disgrace. And this, with the whip, etc., shows how, as a sport, the national hunt scene is fighting to survive. And if punters don't see this, you're idiots. It is fighting to survive because the sports leaders have basically made the fences a laughing stock. I used to deliberately watch a fern race over the national fences back in the day for the spectacle of the jumping test.
It was a treat, wasn't it? When we had an extra meeting and that.
A jumping test. When they all sailed over Beecher's Brook in that race on Saturday, I just laughed.
Most of them standing off it out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the chair has now become a stool.
The footstool, yes. The buffet or whatever it used to be called. Yeah.
It's shit. It's absolutely shit. And people say, oh, you cruel bastard. You want horses to die then? No. Why did I watch the fucking Horse of the Year show? It was the Puissance. I never watched Harvey Smith going round and David Broom doing a clear round.
Paul Shockamola, remember him? He was the other one.
Yeah. Shockamola. Right?
Raymond Brookswald doing the commentary, the old Hickstead Derby as well. Remember that?
Yeah.
The bank.
Oh, Raymond. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
He was good.
Raymond Brookswald. Yeah.
Eddie Macken, Highlander.
Eddie Macken, that's right. Eddie Macken, Paul Shockamola. Yeah, all of those. David Broom.
Tell me, you didn't like the Puissance at the end?
Ah, fantastic.
Up the wall every time.
9 foot, big red wall.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And the old Brock Lock, she's knocked one out, and that was it. Yeah. I remember that.
That was TV. But then that's surely what jumps fanatics are. They
Yeah.
get excited at a horse jumping a fence and jumping it
Yeah.
fantastically well
Mm-mm.
at speed and pace
Yes.
and the technique. That's the thrill of national hunt racing for watchers. So how on earth can you fucking sit there and say that those national fences were suitable in terms of like a spectacle? Me and John would have got over them.
What makes me laugh, before the racing, you got the ITV paddock crew or whatever they are interviewing trainers and saying, "Have you done anything to getting ready for these national fences?" I was waiting for somebody to say, "Yeah, we've took a foot off the fucking schoolers at home."
John, I'm going to bring in Mike Parsons now, who is the ultimate Twitter
Oh,
bore.
fucking what a
He's the
boring
most
fucker he
boring
is.
one on Twitter.
Oh,
What a bore. He's blocked John today. You don't block John.
He unblocked me.
Oh, did he? I'll give him credit.
did he? I blocked him, fucking boring bastard. Listen to me about his old fucking trips round. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah.
He made a statement saying, "What do you want? This is like really good with the Grand National fences." It's shit. It's fucking
Yeah.
shit. I'll tell you what, until Jumps goes back to amateur level in
Yeah.
terms of like point to points in fucking diddly squat, wherever,
Yeah, and fucking Tweezle down or wherever.
is utter crap. Like, because the antis are going to come for it. They're going to come for it all the time. The protesters will come for it. They'll want this, that, until it never stops. And the national now is shit. John, you even said about the commentators that keep referring to the national fences as like, oh, have trainers like developed horses for the national fence? What, a foot lower?
Jesus Christ. You can take something, jump them from a standing start.
It's unbelievable. Got oils and everyone else. They don't cotton on. They don't say, hang on a minute, these fences aren't daunting anymore. You know, they've been modified and lowered, and it's embarrassing.
They've got no incentive. They've got no incentive to say anything. Yeah, the whole of racing exists on not rocking the boat. Rocking the boat means you lose money.
The point being as well, though, Chris, right? They're still saying that, which means we're only a fucking broken shoelace away from the antis getting stuck in the minute there's an accident there. Because they'll say, well, I'll say how dangerous they are. We're still bigging these fences up. So the minute there's an accident, they're going to be all over it again.
Yeah, despite the fences being like absolutely weak as piss.
Look, I used to have a Jack Russell that would have jumped down there.
Yeah, I've seen Cheltenham as well in recent times. I'm certain they are lessening the thickness of the birch in the fences to make sure that nothing goes wrong at a festival meeting as well. I'm certain of it. They're not going to tell you, but I'm certain the birch is not what it used to be back in the day when it was like, it was pretty brutal. Everyone said Cheltenham's a test jump round. I'm not sure Cheltenham is what it was in terms of a test right now, and I'm convinced that they're lessening the birch in the fences. So this is the game you're left with, kids. That's what you do if you see ground. We'll move on quickly to Chelmsford, which was almost a horror show on Saturday evening.
Well, there were some triers there. Fucking now we can't have that, can we? Christ.
Round that last bend, I've never seen anything like that in British racing.
It's elite sport, though. What are you on about? It's elite sport. Good Lord. What are you suggesting? It's run by idiots.
When I saw them going round the last bend, I thought, fucking Jesus. Like, this is...
Them lads did well.
Yeah, well, they've got plenty of practice stopping horses at speed, so I shouldn't have any problem getting around the old fucking gates. Fuck me.
Jimmy Quinn, who's retired. 40 fucking years of Jimmy Quinn, and he weren't riding in it.
Fucking, he left his handbrake in the weighing room. Fuck me, he was carrying the handbrake, wasn't he? Fucking hell.
John, is that any failure of the track authorities? Could anything else have been done?
Well, what was the official explanation?
They didn't have 40 quid to pay the tractor driver to pull it out of the way when it's muddy. That's what.
These stalls are on wheels, aren't they?
Tractor failed, apparently.
Yeah, fucking, yeah.
For how many stall handlers are there?
Health and safety. They've not been trained to push it. What are you on about? There's a case here. If one of them hurts his back, fuck me, they'd sue the track, wouldn't they? This is the mad world we're in. I mean, my point is glib, but that there is the culture we've got now is people don't want to do anything. And you'd accept this, John, that isn't in the job description because you don't get any thanks for it. And if it goes wrong, you're going to get blamed and you could get hurt. So fuck
So,
them. That's the culture we've got. Whereas years ago, when we didn't have this madness, the fellas all got together, heave and managed to push it out of the way. But they're going to say, fuck, no, I ain't doing
what
that.
did they say then? Was there something wrong with the tractor or something wrong with the stove?
Tractor failed.
Yeah. Couldn't get it going. They
There you
didn't have
go.
enough fucking petrol in it or diesel.
Reminds me of I was starter at Sheffield, so we had to carry the traps off in them days. You didn't have
Yeah.
machinery,
No.
and the traps were immensely heavy, and you'd got 4 guys carrying the traps off. Now,
Yeah.
it's funny, but it's not funny, if you know what I mean. So the dogs are like round the first bend, and one of the big lads at the other end, and he was quite a big lad, he tripped over and fell. The traps were on his foot because we
Oh,
were pushing it off.
No,
yeah.
So he were injured, and we just managed to get the traps off in time, actually, before the dogs come round the last bend. But that's what can go wrong, I suppose, in any elite sport.
Yeah, single point of failure, though, isn't it? You got, a tractor, but again, people are not incentivized to go and find a solution because I think, well, bollocks, it's not. I'm not paid for it. I'm not trained in it. I could hurt myself if it goes wrong and someone's injured. They say, why did you move the traps for? Or why did you move the stalls? You could, no point. Let it happen, isn't it? That's what we've created.
people are saying there's a case for like warning lights down the back straight and things, but the way this sport's organised, you could guarantee that something would happen on the night that the bloke that operates the warning light is off or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He's stirring his tea or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crap, isn't it?
it's a poorly run. Speaking of poorly run sport, Jeriko De Raepenet today drifted from 2 to 9 to 8 to 11
Nothing to
at
see here.
Sandown.
Nothing to
And
see
who's
here.
it owned by? The legendary
Oh.
Green and Gold.
Oh, they're all doing their best though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just one of them things, isn't it? Market correction.
Didn't they have like an absolute cunt though?
They pulled it up.
Coincidence.
Sort of, it's still travelling okay. But pulled it up before the home straight.
Yeah.
John, what did you make of that?
I was saying, didn't it behave like a cunt before the race? Popeye was saying it was like trying to saddle a savage lion or something, didn't he?
That's called an alibi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
that's
like
called.
that.
It's funny though, guys, isn't it? People say, "Oh, there's nothing to see here." They're not. Don't. How is it that the market in those circumstances always seems to know? Is it a coincidence that somehow that somebody somewhere knew enough to lay that horse?
Ken
Yeah,
Pitterton would be on the blower to his clients, wouldn't he?
yeah,
Saying, "Oh, we
yeah.
lay the shit out of this, folks."
But he skinned them all, John. He skinned them all.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And no, there was nothing to see here.
It would be those colours, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Of any colours you could probably pick. 2 to
Yeah,
9 to 8
yeah.
to 11.
Well, you wouldn't tip Johnny Della here, would you?
All I'm saying is, if this bombs up in a big handicap or somewhere,
Yeah.
or whatever, in a big race, just remember this day. That's all I'm saying. And the shocking thing today, Racing TV tweeted it and restricted comments.
Yeah, of course. Can't have any criticism.
What
Good
the
God.
fuck's that about? Why
Yeah.
would you tweet that? And then,
Don't rock the boat.
like it's Racing TV, you've turned the comments off. You wankers. Well, I'm cancelling TV anyway because
Yeah, shove it up your
30
fucking
quid a month,
arse.
I'm not
Yeah.
paying it. Fuck off. I'm
Yeah,
going to watch
yeah.
Betfair video and that's it. I'm not interested in Nick Look on Sunday. He's a cunt.
No, yeah, fuck him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And that fucking bag of shit Channing as well. He can fuck off.
Oh, that scruffy cunt.
Fucking what a wanker. What a wanker.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can fuck off. Right, so they're done with. We've summed that up. Yeah, 30 quid a month, Racing TV. What a
Yes.
wank stain that is.
Yes.
Paying for
Shove
fucking
it up
Paul
your
Nichols.
arse.
Speaking of Racing TV, Matthew Worst been on. He says, which is worse, the Epstein list or Racing TV finalist list for Tipstar?
A very good call that was. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
a great
I like
call.
that.
The female one, John, you'd be into her.
Well,
I'm going all Richard Keys here. You'd smash it.
Oh yeah,
Leave the boots on.
yeah, destroy that.
Sarah Hamilton, I think she's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be into her. So watch her. The
like that, yeah.
rest, you need to investigate their hard drives.
Yeah, fucking nod off.
Absolute disgraceful.
Fucking, you can imagine them going racing wearing those stupid cheese cutter flat caps and all that rubbish. Oh, fucking rubbish. half-mast trousers and fucking no socks and all. He said, but again, that's what the sport wants, isn't it? You know, and of course, it wasn't a fair field. It was always it was people with already a significant social media presence. So it wasn't sort of, you know, a merit-based kind of, oh look, we found these, you know, unknowns, etc. These are all relatively well known. People put hawking tips and etc. So yeah, I hope they all lose, frankly.
Yeah, John will like the female contestant. That's my nap.
You're right. You're right.
I'm certain. And when he does actually bother to watch it, he will agree with me. Final racing question before we get on to some funnies. Seeing as we're in the all-weather season, have you noticed change in track biases in the last few weeks? Kempton and Southall have seemed to have changed completely recently, whether it's just the jockeys or the track itself in the question. From Fairley, I'll be honest, Fairley, you could probably say Standside at Southall seems to hold a bit of weight. We know, like, there's rail biases throughout a winter. I like to bide my time, to be honest, because I think people get carried away after one or maybe two meetings. Obviously, rails tend to run dead usually. They don't tend to run live round the bends at Kempton, Wolves, Southall. You have to watch it closely. You're right to watch it, and as I said, it's one of them. Wolverhampton, usually when it gets colder, the rail at Wolverhampton gets really dead, really fucking dead. So just keep your eye on things. I never like to be on a rail on the all weather. I'll be honest. So you're right there. John, any noticing?
Yeah, it's really tough
Yeah.
on the rails.
We move on. Good one, this one. Jason Wally's been on. He said, as I assume you lads are regular gym goers. I know. So you know he's one. What a cunt. What do you think about to make the time go quicker when you're on the treadmill?
Visiting the fucking Kit Kat machine.
Yeah, fucking trying to boot the shit out of that. Try and get your money back. Yeah, that's the only exercise I do around the gym.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, what's the matter with you, mate? You know, fucking
Yeah.
give your head a wobble, Jim. Fuck off.
Come and sit with us and chew the fat. Literally chew
And
our
chew the pork pie jelly with us.
chew our fat at a meeting.
Pie jelly.
Yeah, yeah. Good question. Funny though.
Yeah, it is good.
Sid's been on. I always enjoy an M&S recommendation. Anyone found any gems in there recently? Maybe festive range, he says. John.
Yeah, Emperor Carrots. I had some today. Fantastic.
Emperor Carrots.
Yeah, I've got this. You just open the microwave and they've got this nice dressing with them, and have a compound butter in there, and they'll do nicely for Christmas.
Nice. Emperor Carrots. Chris, do you ever venture into M&S?
No, I need to rob them, mate, honestly. Yeah, back to the old self-service till. You pay for one, nick 45 items, usual shit. Yeah, that old game. Yeah. No, I haven't been in M&S Food. Well, actually, I did a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, there's some nice gear there, isn't there? They've upped their game again. I think they tailed off a little bit, but yeah, there's some nice stuff there. Pretty much everything's good there, I think.
Yeah, I've nothing to add to that at the moment because me and the producer, we up the shopping game towards Christmas. So there'll be more tips coming forward, Sid, on that when we find some good stuff. So nothing to add from my perspective on that. Ice Cold Q's been on. Lies that your parents knowingly told you.
They liked me. Yeah.
What is that? Jean say that she liked you?
Yeah, that was a annoying lie, wasn't it? No.
Chris,
I don't know. To be honest,
parents, they must have told you lies.
Well, I mean, it's like work hard, do your best, and you'll get on, and that's the biggest lie of the lot, I think, isn't it? Because that I think that's a big con. I really do. The sense that that your industry skill and application is going to result in sort of success, and it doesn't. So that was a big fucking lie, which I wish I hadn't listened to. So that's mine.
Just can't be.
There was another one as well. When I moved out, there'll always be a home for you here. And then, after that, I don't think I ever went round there without getting a, what do you want?
I shouldn't laugh. John stole the march there.
Yeah, for
happy
sure.
days,
I don't think we can top that.
Happy days, peeps. Enjoy your Sunday evenings. Joel Ross,
Yeah.
if you're in the bathtub, enjoy that one.
Yeah.
One to finish, as always, Samuel the cat. Trying new things is good, he says.
Is it?
Well, yeah, it can be. Have any
Yeah.
of you been to a different country and tried some obscure food, thought that was okay, or thought it was shit? Have any of you tried any roadkill? Or if entering a forest, would you know which mushrooms or berries were safe to eat if you had to?
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a story about that. It's absolutely true. My mother was, well, she had been very late in life when she was brought up she was German in the area of Silesia, which was quite a heavily industrialized area, but they had lots of sort of German forests where they used to go and pick, all these sort of rare and weird mushrooms. And she claimed to be an expert. Right, and my dad says, "Oh, I fucking wouldn't eat anything she picked." No, she said, "You don't know what you're on about." So we went for a walk in the woods. I think it was something like Virginia Water, Great Park, or whatever. And she alighted on this sort of the base of this tree, and she goes, "Look!" She said, "These are whatever called Steinpilzer. They're delicious. They taste like steaks." So she was gathering them up in a basket and stuffing her pockets full. And she said, "You fry them with a little bit of butter and garlic, and they're delicious." Yeah, fine. So my dad says, "Well, I ain't fucking having any of that shit." So I thought, I don't fancy him either. She said, "You don't know what you're on about. You know nothing, either of you." She had this, and I shit you not, she fell ill and was in a coma for 10 days. That's absolutely true. She's in a fucking coma. That's fucking true. My dad says, "Well, they don't smell good." She said, "You don't know what you're on about. They're delicious. They're like fillet steak." She said, "Oh, I don't feel too good. Call an ambulance." I think they were like fucking death caps or something. But she got 10 days in a coma.
Oh,
So yeah, foraging, no, not for me.
goodness gracious. John, I know you can answer. You love a bit of roadkill, don't you?
Well, going back to my school days, we were having a particularly barren run. I don't know whether it was about 1975, 76, and the old fellow was really on his uppers, and he said, "Oh, he said we'll go for a trip out." And so I thought, well, it's a bit funny that he never asked us to go anywhere like this. So anyway, he gets in car and he said, "We'll go over at Mowers." And he had this old red Morris Marina. And we just get past Scaling Dam, and then there's all the fucking shape either side of the road, crossing the road, all the rest of it, isn't it, till you get to like Castleton or whatever. So next thing, he swerved up onto the grass and took a fucking shape out. He said, "Right, get out quick." He said, "We'll have to get there in boat."
Mutton.
I'd hardly be 10-year-old, you know. I thought, "Oh, God, it's dead."
Poor sheep, yeah.
Yeah, my God, he made some time back from the mowers, back to our house with this fucking shape in boat. Then it was straight in yard, hung up by its ankles on washing line, guts out, bled. My God.
And was the marina all right? Was that damaged to the,
No,
because
there wasn't
marina?
much. There
Good,
wasn't much of a
brilliant,
mark on it, you know. For
good.
a Leyland car, it stood the impact remarkably well. You know, you'd have expected it to fall up worse than the fucking shape, wouldn't you?
You would. Doors fall off and fucking roof blows off. Yeah, no, it's good though.
But yeah, he took a shape out when he was desperate.
So you got a leg of lamb, John?
We got four, and
Mutton.
shanks and lot. We had lamb breast soup, you name it. I think the only thing that didn't get it was bear.
And of course, the Ginger Hitler famously said back in the day that when we used to play Saltburn, John, golf course,
Yeah.
there was some former like bunkers, weren't they, like in these trees that bombs had it back in the war were pointed out. And the Ginger Hitler said to you, he says, "Johnny," he says, "he fucking sits out here in his fucking vest and pants and eats berries." The Martin Ogre, he called him.
Yeah.
Like, you just see it like that, just sat in this fucking golf course bushes eating berries. Sorry.
Like a bivouac.
Yeah, that's the Ginger Hitler describing John as we played golf back in the day at Saltburn. Great questions as always. Thank you, chaps. You always make the show, and we've had a lot of fun doing it this week. Certainly slagged a few people off, which is always good. We're back next Sunday with more of the same. That's all from me, John and Chris. Hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.